Once again, I want to thank you for joining us here on Inside the IFL. And tonight on the phone, we had the honor of having head coach Rick Richards for the Green Bay Blizzards. How you doing tonight, Coach?
I'm trying to stay warm up here in Green Bay, actually. So I guess it could be worse, could be better.
That sounds all right, Coach. Coach, first thing I wanted to know was what are some of the things that attracted you to the Blizzard organization?
Well, to be in an NFL city again is probably a benefit. You know, I've been in Chicago and I've been in St. Louis, and obviously to have an NFL franchise right down the road is always a benefit in terms of recruiting young men to come play ball at this level for $200 a game. That's always a plus.
Okay, I know.
And then the winning tradition of the Blizzard and, you know, the facilities up here, the ownership, having deep enough pockets to be able to maybe take a lump or two, and try and make this thing go. You know, the budgets in the AFL and the AF2 were just so astronomical. And the budget in the AF2 was $1.2 million, and they didn't quite reach that last year. You know, they reached like 1.1 or just over $1 million, and so our budgets in the IFL are a little bit less than that. So hopefully we can turn a profit and keep football around here for a long time. And obviously, I'd like to be a part of that and help win some football games, maybe another ring along the way.
Okay, that sounds good, Coach. You spoke on recruiting. Coach, what is one of the hardest positions to recruit at this level?
Well, there's no doubt the offensive line is probably the hardest to recruit at this level for whatever reason. I'm not quite sure why that is. I think that we're pretty fortunate to have the guys that we have this year, the guys that the staff has been hard at trying to bring in here, and you don't really know until we suit up if they're the right ones or not, but we're pretty happy with where we're at. But I would definitely say the offensive line.
Okay. And you spoke on the guys you're bringing to camp. Coach, how many guys do y'all anticipate bringing into camp this year?
Well, we're going to bring in 45. We really don't have any guys from last year or any guys from St. Louis where I was last year. You know, St. Louis is not around anymore. That franchise folded, and they traded all the players from that franchise to Omaha, which, you know, technically still has their rights there until the third or fourth week of the season. And then the old coaching staff who was here with the Blizzard, you know, are now in Milwaukee in Arena 1. And so they came in and took the players that they wanted to take to Milwaukee, maybe give them a few more dollars than what we can offer in the IFL. And so we're kind of starting from scratch. We're going to bring in 44, 45 guys for camp here next week.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. Coach, what is one of the biggest hurdles when you're bringing in so many different personalities, like 45 different guys in the camp?
Well, I mean, just because they did well in college, Joe, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to translate and do well in the indoor game. I think basically what you're doing is you're bringing in a bunch of guys and going based on their body of work from college, and sometimes it plays out and sometimes it doesn't. This is my 11th year doing arena or indoor football, and the first cut I ever had to make as a head coach was Major Harris, who was a two-time Heisman finalist at West Virginia, was all this and all that, and he didn't really cut it for us. And unfortunately, I had to release him, and you know, we had started 0-3 that year, my first year in Charleston, and we brought in Johnny Turman out of the University of Pittsburgh, and it was just a breath of fresh life into it. You just really never know what you're going to get. You know, you recruit them based on college, and you get what you get.
Okay. With all the guys you're bringing in, are there any, let's say, rookie or vets that you would be bringing in this year that you'll be counting on to be leaders on the team?
Well, we've got Maurice Simpkins. He played for me before. He was a defensive player of the year for us in the UIF in Rockford, and he was an all-conference performer at Coastal Carolina. He played linebacker. And we got Lawrence Beatty, a receiver out of Boise State, who was an offensive player of the year. He's been in the NFL with the Falcons and a few other people, and, you know, caught 100 balls and et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, those guys are a couple years older. Sometimes you can go and get a rookie out of college who's hungrier, who wants it more, puts in a little more work, so we'll have to see what transpires. I think we've probably got at least one vet or somebody with some experience at pretty much every position. You know, that doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot, but they are like other coaches on the field. They got a couple eyeballs, and they've been there, done that. So they do help out a little bit, but you know, it's just going to depend how it all shakes out. You know, the best gauge is going to be next weekend going to La Crosse and playing them in an exhibition game, because I think they're putting together a pretty good squad down the road as well.
Okay. Coach, with the way the IFL aligned the division this year, can you give me your thoughts on the division and how you, what you think about teams in your division?
Oh, there's no question that Kenton Carr and his guys down there in Bloomington are the team to beat for us in the conference. You know, it's a close rivalry for us. Kenton I consider him a good friend of mine, but in the same token, once you step across that white line, you want to kind of beat his backside a little bit. And then Chicago, who won the championship last year, they're going to be darn good, and you can't count on lacrosse, who's got Gilbert Brown as their head coach, and it's going to be a fest. Everybody in the whole IFL. I mean, I can't see a division that's just going to be a walk-away winner. So it's a battle every single week.
Okay. You spoke on how competitive the league going to be this year with all the new teams and some new great head coaches in the league. Can you give me your thoughts on the direction the league is going?
Well, there was a few AF2 teams that jumped over just because of cost, trying to make an AFL. We could have jumped over to the Arena 1 or the AFL. It just wasn't cost-effective for us, so the same thing happened with some AF2 teams. They jumped into IFL. Many of the AF2 teams dissolved, and then some of the other AF2 teams like Bossier Shreveport and so on and so forth went over and is going to try and make that jump to Arena 1. As far as the talent level, I don't know if there's a more competitive league across the nation that, 26 teams, we're all going to play our games each and every single week. We've got a great commissioner in Tommy Benizio and a great football ops guy in the front office in terms of Brooks York, and just everybody from the top to bottom at the league office just seems to make things happen. And then you got the owners who, the league is owned by each individual team. It's not owned by an entity, by like AF2 standards like the league owned it. We're not franchises. Each individual city has their say on everything, and I think that's a good way to do it. So it's 26 teams all vying for that championship, and I think that's a good start. And then we get 16 teams in the playoffs out of those 26, and so that's kind of nice too.
Okay. You spoke on earlier about the rivalries with the close proximity of teams like Chicago and lacrosse. Those rivalries and how close they are, do you think that's something that Blizzard fans will be able to go to those cities and attend games, and as well as some of those fans from those cities come to your games? How do you think that rivalry will play out?
Well, Green Bay really hasn't had an AF2 rivalry that was this close. So I think some fans are going to be treated to be able to hit the road and be able to make a day game like of lacrosse. It's 3 hours down the road, or Chicago a few hours down the road, and even Bloomington, which is 5 or 6, to where you can go to a game at 7 o'clock at night and still get home at a halfway decent hour. And it isn't too far of a trek. I think they're going to be in for a treat to be able to go to some of the other venues, because the Sears Center in Chicago and Cellular Field, I believe, in Bloomington, those are two of the best arenas in the whole league. And then I believe that our Resch Center here is if not second to none, it's right up there as well. It's pretty darn nice, and we've got great facilities here. So I mean, straight across the board, everybody in our division and whatnot, it's just going to be a battle. I think it'll be a treat for the fans to go check out some of those nicer arenas.
Okay, Coach. Coach, have you set your a report day for you guys, a report for camp?
The report date is, the guys are showing up in town now. We've got probably 25 guys in town. Our official camp date is the 13th, the 19th, which is Thursday. And I don't know, let's see, the 21st we go to lacrosse. So we hop on a bus and go there. We're going to have 2 days for the first couple of days and go down there and kind of see where we're at. Give us a gauge to release some guys and maybe bring in some more guys, or see if we're happy with what we've got.
Okay. For all the Blizzard fans, that'll be, you said the 21st will be a preseason game in lacrosse between the Spartans and the Blizzard?
Correct. 3 o'clock.
Okay. So, Coach, what can the fans in Green Bay come to expect out of 2010 Blizzard this year?
Oh, I don't know. We're gonna try and do what they did, which is win some football games, and we got a little bit of a late start, so we're behind the 8 ball as far as where Chicago's at and Bloomington's at and lacrosse is at, but we're going to do our best to go out there and be competitive.
All right, Coach. Again, we want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to speak with us here inside the IFL, and hopefully we can continue to speak with you throughout the season.
All right, Joe. Have a good night.
All right, you too, man.